I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
Republicans in the House are paralyzed with hatred, not judging the president with fairness, but impeaching him with a vengeance.
An impeachment of the president is an undoing of a national election.
They hate Bill and Hillary Clinton so much they will stop at nothing to bring him down.
I expect history will show that we've lowered the bar on impeachment so much that it will be used as a routine tool to fight political battles. My fear is that when a Republican wins the White House, Democrats will demand payback. This is their president we are talking about, and make darn sure that we are able to convince them, if we decide to upset their decision, that our decision to impeach him was based upon principle and not politics.
Ukraine witch hunt, Ukraine hoax. Just a step back, if you will. We started out with this whole Russia collusion for almost 2.5 years, with Adam Schiff saying that he had evidence that was going to prove that Trump colluded with Russia. And the only thing we've come up with is that Adam Schiff, was trying to get nude pictures of Donald Trump. We had the whole Mueller investigation. They debriefed Mueller, called Mueller to the Hill to testify. It was a flop. We then had Ralph Nadler saying that he was going to open up an impeachment inquiry. Now, this was about, I think, a month ago. Now, fast forward, we have Nancy Pelosi saying that she's going to do the exact same thing. My question, and I think the viewers should look at, is who do we believe? We thought that an impeachment inquiry had already taken place. And now Nancy Pelosi is saying that she's going to do it, and the media now is giving it some type of credence as if though what she's doing is gospel, simply because, I guess, she's the Speaker of the House. But mind you, she has lost control of the House to the radicals. So I just wanted to put that out there before we start, because I want people to let that marinate as we go through our list of things that took place today with the hearing. Go ahead, Melissa.
Yeah, the scariest thing I saw trending on Twitter this morning when I got up was hashtag President Pelosi. That was horrific. I don't understand how any Democrat could think that was a good idea. If they did impeach Trump, and then if something happened to Pence, yeah, we'd be stuck with Pelosi, and that's a really terrifying fact.
Well, it's like, how do you hopscotch over Mike Pence to get to Pelosi? Are they planning on taking Mike Pence down also?
Right.
And let's say if that were to happen, we hopscotch over Mike Pence, and then it's Nancy Pelosi. Or is it ACOC in her quad? Because clearly, Nancy does not have control of her caucus. As much as the media, the liberal media, would like to say she has control just to make her look like a powerful woman in this new environment of women first, she does not have control. Let's not kid ourselves. They have her by the heels, and they have her going this way, that way. And now she's finally conceded to say, hey, well, let's do an impeachment inquiry. And I want the millennials to realize also, simply because you have an impeachment inquiry does not mean that the president has been impeached. You have to go before the floor and cast a vote to have articles of impeachment. And even with that does not remove the president from office. Because once it goes to the articles of impeachment, they have the trial, then it goes to the Senate, which is dominated with Republicans. And then they have to decide whether or not to remove the president. And although there are a few rhinos in the Senate, and although we have the second arm of the Democratic Party, the liberal media, Washington Post, New York Times, and CNN saying that, oh yeah, there's some hidden Republicans who will actually vote to impeach the president if they don't have to say their names. I don't believe it. It's a bunch of yaya. The same way the Washington Post printed that Joe McGuire, the director of the DNI, was saying that if I can't tell the truth, if I can't say anything, I'm going to resign. A bunch of yaya. And if you've noticed, we've been having a bunch of yaya for the past 2.5 years. The media running out with a story that's completely fake, completely false. And people say, well, why do they do it? Well, they do it because there's no one to hold them accountable. The only time the government is going to intervene, as Mueller did once, to say, hey, you guys got it wrong. That's when they say, wait a minute, we can't let this get out there and noodle around. I guess it'll spin out of control. The media is protected under the Constitution. But that being said, they have failed miserably in giving us information. So that just segues into my next point, when a lot of people are upset with Fox News. They say, well, Fox, you're becoming like CNN and MSNBC. And I caution you when you say that. Let's remember, Fox News has journalists and commentators. Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson will be the first to say, we are commentators. We're not journalists.
Right.
So they can present the news, they can twist it, they can give their own opinion, and thankfully they do say that. This is my opinion. Okay, whereas you have people like Brett Baer and Bill Hemmer, and then the other lady during the morning, they're giving straight news. And I know sometimes some of the things that they say, you find, well, why don't they say this? Why don't they say that the president is right? They can't say that. They have to give us the news,
right,
and let us dissect the news and make an informed decision. Whereas CNN, Anderson Cooper, he's giving you the news and his opinion. You don't confuse the two.
Right.
He's giving you his opinion. It's not factual. It's based on his opinion, which a lot of times is incorrect. The same thing with Rachel Maddow. She's not giving you news. She's reading from a teleprompter from her opinion that she sat down and she wrote out, and then when it's her time to go on the TV, she's giving you her opinion. But people think, oh my God, this is so true. But it's not. It's her opinion. Okay, I digress. Go ahead, Melissa.
No, I had
to get that out.
No, I know, I'm fired up too. You're completely right on that. It's like, that's what's great about doing like a podcast or a radio show. We can have our opinions and people tune in to listen to that opinion, because it's a lot like their own. And it's, it's like, hey, I do have a friend out there in the universe. It's not like being bombarded with this fake news cycle constantly and consistently that we have gone through for the last 2 years. And that's the other thing I wanted to point on, because it spurred in my mind right when you said it about they want to protect the Constitution. And, part of it is they keep bringing up the security of our country and how, it's so important that we are protected, from foreign entities and all this other stuff, when a lot of the time we have to look to the Democrat Party and the fact that they're not protecting us at all. They're actually putting us in harm's way. When we have people constantly bashing other leaders of other countries, what's to say that someday Kim Jong-un isn't going to get really sick of our media and what they're saying? Some people are very, very sensitive to that sort of thing. Same thing with Putin. What's to say Putin's not going to get totally sick of our media and what they're saying and just say, hey, all right, let's go to war. You guys hate me anyway. But that's, because they're portraying that view. Yeah.
I agree 100%, because when you look at it, like you say, the Democrats are always saying that, oh, well, Donald Trump is saying this and he's saying that about this person and he's unhinged. Like, are you looking at what you're saying? I mean, let's just look at this whole Russian collusion. Now, 2.5 years of lie. There was no air there. Putin can very easily say, you guys just defamed me. I had nothing to do with this. And you kept saying that I colluded with Donald Trump, and I did it. Now, of course, he has the last laugh, because he was probably laughing, saying, you're complete idiots. I had nothing to do with this. They know that I did it. Why don't they just ask me, and I'll tell them no, just like Ukraine. They asked him. He said, I didn't feel pressure. I had a conversation with Donald Trump. He is telling you he did not feel pressure. Yet still, the media is telling us, oh, no, there was a quick probe there that Donald Trump was doing, that he wasn't going to give them finance if he didn't look into this nefarious behavior of Joe Biden. Now, I want everybody to think about this, our viewers. Are you aware in the Obama administration, President Obama withheld funds from Ukraine because he felt that they were bad players? Not only that, just recently today, Dick Durbin, Patrick Leahy, wrote a letter to the Ukraine Prosecutor General Yuri Lysenko expressing concern of the investigations that Bob Mueller had done. They felt that he wasn't working with Bob Mueller the way they felt that he should, so they were threatening monetary assistance. Where is the outcry there?
Right.
Complete crickets. And interestingly enough, the article about these guys was written in none other than the Washington Post, but it was written by a conservative, Mark A. Beeson, a columnist. The Washington Post printed the story. But that's something else I want to delve into. Although the Washington Post, a.k.a. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, controlled by liberals, every so often, you get ahead of the news cycle, they'll drop little tidbits of things that might happen, just like the New York Times dropped a little tidbit about Joe Biden and his son back in early January,
Yes.
the whole Ukraine and China. Now, they dropped it, but not a lot of attention was paid on it. People heard it, and they moved on. But now, fast forward, it's getting a lot of attention, but they're still trying to suppress it. What Joe Biden did, he openly admitted it. He laughed about it. He came out and he said, yes, I told them, if you don't fire this guy, you're not going to get the money. And they said, you're not the president. He said, you got 6 hours. He said this on live TV. It's been on Twitter. People have been talking about it. But for some reason, our dear friends in liberal media, also known as the Democrat Party, they refuse to raise any questions about it. They refuse to say, wait a minute, this is nefarious. This is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
How can this guy be running for president and his son was making like $50,000, was going to make $50,000 a month? But doing what? And what was his knowledge base? Well, we're constantly hearing about Don Jr. Oh, he's an idiot. He has all this money. It's like, wait a minute. He doesn't have any business dealings like Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, who was kicked out of the Air Force or the Navy because he had a drug problem. Hunter Biden, who had an affair with his dead brother's wife after his brother died. Hunter Biden, who's been alleged to have gotten some woman in Arkansas pregnant. Hunter Biden, who just recently married a young lady from South Africa. Like, what gives? Here's the story right here, folks. Not Donald Trump having a conversation which is allowed under the Constitution to have a conversation with any world leader. He can say whatever he wants to say. Now, we can look at it and say, maybe I wouldn't have done that, but is it illegal? Is it a criminal act? I'm not a lawyer, but I read law journals, and I've looked at this. No, it is not. But in the eyes of the Democrats and the media, who are also Democrats, they want to make it out to be a crime. You know why? Because there are a lot of people that are looking at this that are unlearned. They can't distinguish between the two. They look at it and go, oh, my God, the president was talking to a foreign leader. He committed a crime. It's like, but President Obama on a hot mic told the Russian president, just tell Putin that once after the election, I'll have more latitude to look at that. It's
and
like, folks, right there in your eyes. Go ahead, Melissa.
Yeah, and they just actually played that clip earlier this morning. I wish I would have caught it in time to record it, but I don't understand how that TiVo thing works. But it was one of the news stations, and they were saying how it wasn't illegal, because we bring that one up a lot too, us, the Republican side. We bring up that Obama moment, and we say that was wrong, but it's not illegal for him to do that either, and it's not illegal for Donald Trump. The same stands. What we wanted to...
I agree. Because what you have here, what's happening basically is that because these guys failed with the Russia collusion, and now they're trying to, find something with this whole Ukraine deal, and we're finding out now. I put out a piece on Twitter, and I said that until further notice, in my opinion, the whistleblower will be called the liberal media. That's the whistleblower.
Right.
And now we're finding out that the whistleblower is in fact some type of CIA operative. So when you think about all this, the CIA operative, okay, how did he get to power? And he does not have first-hand knowledge as to what we're saying, but he's saying that different people told him this. So he had to put piecemeal all this stuff together. And I might add, watching Fox News, Catherine Hettridge, who is a real journalist, who does not give her opinion, she just reason is, as she sees it, from reading the report, she said that it was put together extremely well, as if someone worked with him to encompass all the different components that's supposed to be a more memo, so to speak. So it begs the question, who is a whistleblower? Well, we know right now he is a male and a CIA agent who was placed in the White House, CIA agent. So now we know that there was a spy. Even if this person is a CIA agent placed in the White House to surveil or to do something, he probably had alternative motive, a spy. Not only that, the lawyer who's repping him apparently had worked with Senator Schumer and had also worked with Hillary Clinton, who to this day did not accept the fact that she lost the election fair and square. Folks, whenever they're saying that she won the popular vote, who cares about the popular vote? That's not how our system works. It's the Electoral College, okay? And I'll go into the Electoral College on another taping. But right now, she lost fair and square. And the media needs to hold her to it and stop just whitewashing over it. She lost. She wasn't a good candidate. As a result, everything that we see right now that's happening is payback. The media is trying to get rid of Donald Trump because they lost horribly with the ratings and saying that he's not going to win. And he won. They did their darnest to defeat this man, but he won. Even now, he's winning. In spite of everything that's going on, everything that they're throwing his way, with all these investigations and the lies. Look at what happened this week. He was meeting with world leaders, working out deals. Did you hear about it? No. The only thing we heard about was the Ukraine letter and the whistleblower. But that is so insignificant. Look at what he's doing for the country to save the union, to keep us on top. Meanwhile, China, who paid Hunter Biden money, is threatening world domination. And no one is saying anything about it because the liberals don't care. They're okay with, let's say, 10 years from now, they're predicting that the world is going to be gone, that China will take over. They would probably welcome that. If you have people who are working against the country, so I think that's the whole Ukraine thing, with all these different components that have all these technicals that are reaching out. So you have this guy, the CIA agent, who claimed that he heard something from many different sources. And now it was designed so carefully as to what they did. I guess they managed to throw in Attorney General Barr. Now, you might ask, well, why is our name even mentioned in this? Well, they did it because they want to discredit him so that he can be moved out of the way to recuse himself so that the investigation that he has going on now into this whole Russian collusion can stop. See, that's something that Jeff Sessions would have done. He would have recused himself. He said, oh, well, I better get that because I don't want them to attack me, but not Barr. Barr is going to stay in the thick of things. So they're going to mention A.G. Barr's name in this little memo, this whistleblower that I wasn't privy to anything, but I was told. So all these people in the White House saw him out to tell him this information. He gets this information. He doesn't know what to do with it. So what does he do? He runs to an attorney who used to work for Chuck Schumer and Hillary Clinton and says, hey, get this information and put it together because I want to put it out there and throw in Attorney General Barr's name so that we can sideline him and throw in Rudy Giuliani's name also because we got to sideline him because these are heavy players. And so far, they're beating us at our own game. So they collude all this stuff, package it up, and then somehow mysteriously, the Washington Post finds out about it. Now, if this is supposed to be confidential information, we don't know who the whistleblower's name is. How is it the Washington Post, who are constantly making mistakes, who have made mistakes for the past 3 years, are going to find out about this information and report on it, and then we're supposed to believe it? And next to the Washington Post is the New York Times, who completely messed up the entire Brett Kavanaugh debacle with their fake authors. They just messed that up completely. So they had to leave that alone because they realized, hey, we're not getting any traction with this. So let's try the whistleblower. So this guy somehow leaks this information to the whistleblower. we have a problem. There are leakers in the White House. Now, some people say, yeah, but it's Donald Trump's regime. Are people leaking? There are people that are working in the White House and in Washington that were there to the Bill Clinton days. They haven't retired, and they can't be fired as employees. They can't be fired without cause. And that's one of the things that Donald Trump said that he wanted to end. He wanted to be able to move these people out. And a lot of these people who are part of the deep swamp should be moved out because they're working not only against the president. We can't just look at it that, well, they're working against the president because they don't like it. No, they're working against the interests of America because they don't like America. They hate what we stand for. And then you have this man, this general, Tom McGuire, who has served his country with such integrity. Now they're trying to question his integrity over a fake memo that was made up by the media, CIA agent, who had no first-hand information as to what transpired. And to boot, he's now saying that, and the transcript that you guys are looking at, that was probably doctored also. I beg to differ. You know why? Because there are so many different layers that come into play when a president is being recorded and dictation is given. So unless everyone in the White House, and it's conceivable, in the White House, around the White House, and all the machines that they use are in cahoots against the country, that's the only way that transcript can be fake. But he's saying that because he knows that once people see that the transcript is like, wait, there's nothing here. Oh, no, but there's more. Well, how do you know? Because you can't trust that. Okay, Mr. Whistleblower, why don't you just come up and just say your name and tell us who you are? Well, he can't do that because this was secondhand information. And if they question him on it and pressure him on it, what he will say is, oh, I can't divulge that because if I do, my sources, I'll be putting my sources, I'll be jeopardizing the jobs. Folks, it is the liberal media, as the president said some time ago, that is the enemy of the state. Not everyone, there are some good journalists out there, but the institution of the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC,